talking about Future, mixtape Pluto. Again, Future is a non-stop, never-ending, seemingly source of music. Like, I don't know how much this guy is in his studio, but he must be in the studio damn near every day, because the amount of songs and music that he has to release is kind of insane. Like, he's been in the game for, I don't know, I mean, I'm not even just in the game, at the top, towards the top of the game since what, early 2010s, and like he's still putting out music at the clip that he is. Like, I don't think there's been a year. Has there been a year that's gone by where he hasn't released a project? Y'all have to let me know about it. I really can't remember, because he's already put out 2 full albums this year with Metro Boomin, and he's already back again with a new tape. Obviously, this is a mixtape, more of like a quickie, and one that he has dedicated to Dungeon Family, if you can kind of tell from the cover of the mixtape. It's obviously this is like Dungeon, well, not obviously, but if you are not in the know, this is Dungeon Family's house where they did a lot of recording, and Dungeon Family is one of those, you know, outfits that is very, very underrated. They produce obviously like Outkast, Andre 3000, Big Boy, CeeLo Green, Killer Mike, and even Future kind of had to start there because his cousin Rico Wade, who passed away earlier this year, was part of that outfit, and like really kind of put him on to music and like really helped shape his career. So in honor of that passing and the label as a whole, or collective, however you want to say it, as a whole, he is putting it in his mixtape. And if anything, that alludes to maybe him getting back to kind of his more tried and true older style of songs and music, and just kind of mixtape Future that he was in his bag for a while, and why a lot of people love him. I'm not really sure because I haven't heard any singles from this, but it is kind of interesting to see like he's seemingly wanted to kind of go back to the era, because it was a very special era. He did have a phenomenal kind of mixtape run there for a minute, and like I'm sure a lot of people have been asking him to kind of get back into that bag, and maybe that is what he's giving us. But again, like this insane clip of music that he's putting out is pretty wild, and like I'm not really sure if he can keep this up, or how much longer he can keep this up at a high level, because, well, I take that back. He could probably keep it up, because quite honestly, a lot of his songs don't really have that much lyrical depth to them. He just kind of goes into, you know, the booth and just says what's on his mind and on, you know, what he's been thinking. And like, he comes out with some phenomenal stuff sometimes. And there's definitely some stuff where it's like, oh, okay, it definitely sounds like you just went to the booth and just said some shit. So I take that back. He can probably keep this up for a while. But I'm not really sure what kind of direction he's going to go with this one. Maybe it's going to be like more of his older 2010s type of sound and style from those mixtape days, or not, but we'll have to see. Let's go to track number 1, Teflon Don. I mean, all right, he's definitely going kind of that more raw, not unfinished, but definitely more raw sounding hip-hop Future styling that you kind of expect from like that mixtape era. It's not super highly produced, super highly polished, but it is definitely giving that vibe and feel of those days back when he was probably at this exact house kind of putting together his early songs and demos and just takes, and like it's definitely kind of tapping back into that feel. And it seems like that's probably going to be the route that he's going to be going on this whole direction. I'm sure his fans, some of his biggest fans, are probably happy with that, because obviously that is the way a lot of people came to know him and like became fans of him. And I'm kind of indifferent. Like, this song doesn't really do a whole lot for me. Beat is okay. I mean, it's a Future song. Like, that's pretty much all I can say. It is definitely a Future song. Again, like, it's definitely tapping into that more raw, dirty kind of mixtape feel from like early Future days, and how people came to know him. Not super polished or done with a lot of bells and whistles. The production is very simple, and he kind of just went to the booth and did what he does. At best, like, this is a Future song. At worst, this is a Future song. You know what I mean? Let's go to track number 2, Lil Demon. Yeah, that's that classic Future feel. Like it's got that super hard hitting bass. He's got like that raw melodic kind of delivery that we've come to know and expect and love. And it definitely feels like he tapped in with some of the older producers that like he helped elevate and that they helped elevate as well. Like I wouldn't be surprised. I didn't hear the drop or the tag, but I wouldn't be surprised if this is a Southside production, because it certainly has that hard hitting feel and drum feel of like a Southside. Again, Future. This is a Future track. It's got that classic kind of mixtape feel of those early days when he was like really trying to establish his name in the game and like as a force to be reckoned with. And like he does have that same energy and appeal, which is hard to do after all these years to kind of like tap back into it, but he does it effortlessly. Like only he can kind of deliver this type of energy and melodic feel in the way that he does. A lot of people have tried to imitate his sound and delivery and appeal, but it's just never fully worked out. Like he still got that shit on lock, and it's kind of impressive that he's able to tap back into it at almost any given time to still have that kind of ability to deliver that feeling of hunger and like aspiration to be the best. Let's go to track number 3, Ski. Hold up now. I said that it felt like Future was kind of getting back into his older mixtape bag, but if this ain't that, like, I don't know what else is. Like, this absolutely feels like something like that would come straight off of like Monster type era, Purple Rain type era. Like, I honestly have not been as tapped into Future as I once was, and like he was putting out music at a ridiculous clip at some point, and I kind of like fell off. Like if I didn't hear stuff just bypassing that like interest me, I never really went out of my way to kind of see where things were and where he was. It kind of felt like he was losing steam or kind of like passion there for a little bit, but yeah, it's just kind of crazy. Let me run that back real quick. I mean, I had to go look at who's doing this production, and yes, he is absolutely tapped back into Southside for this project, and it makes sense because if that's the kind of era that you are trying to kind of go for and tap back in and deliver for the people and the fans, you gotta tap back in with the producers that really helped you out a lot. And like outside of like Mike Will, quite honestly, his collaborations with Southside are some of my favorite. Like obviously him and Metro Boomin have done some absolute magic and they work well together, but like there's something about Future on a Southside beat that just can't be touched. Fire, absolutely fire. That is kind of like that classic Future feel that a lot of people came up on and grew to love, and like again, seeing him tap back in with Southside as heavily as he's doing right now is a thing of beauty, because they deliver some absolutely monstrous songs and hits, and like he seems to bring out an energy in Future that very few producers can. Not at this level. Not at this level. Let's go track number 4, Ready to Cook Up. I mean, those Southside drums are just nasty, like just unarguably nasty. Like his drums are filthy, and his production has always been top tier, and like he's doing it once again. He's absolutely delivering on every front that you would want from a Future and Southside kind of collaboration. Future is tapping back into that menacing energy that he really had early on in his career, and he's giving it, he's feeding his fans. Like this is definitely one for the fans. Like this is not the more mainstream poppy chart topping Future that we've honestly been getting for the last few years. This is him getting back into that it is what it is type of bag. Like this is him at his most menacing, most haunting, like delivering like these very ominous type songs and production and feel, but is also energizing at the same time. Like, it's very weird, this ability that he has to do with some of his music, but like he's tapping back into that. And like, if you are a fan or you have been a fan of Future for a long time, I do think that this project is probably aimed directly at you. Like he said, I got famous from these streets and I stayed real. So like, this is really him kind of like letting people know, like, I still got this. I can still tap into this. I'm still about that. That's pretty much what he's doing. Again, it's just tapping back into that old school mixtape Future. Very menacing, very ominous, much more darker production than you would get, say, with like his last couple Metro Boomin projects, or any of his like last kind of stuff where he was aiming for a little bit more modern mainstream placement and appeal. This is for the fans. This is straight up for the fans. Let's go to track number 5, Pluto Ski.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Like he said, he back in that mode again. He back in that mode again. I can't even argue with him. Like, it feels like it. It definitely feels like it. It definitely feels like you tapped fully back into that energy. That raw, dirty trap energy that he kind of delivered in only the way that like the Future can. I don't know what got him back in this bag, but I'm not mad at it because I feel like it's something that's been missing from his repertoire as of late, as he's gotten more mainstream success and appeal, and has worked with like all types of pop artists and artists across all genres. To hear him like get back into this, like, no, I still got this too bag is crazy. And the production on this is production is nasty. Let's run that back. Ryan was hating again. It's crazy, but like I said, he's tapping back into that dark, ominous, menacing energy of those early days. And like, if you didn't think so, he kind of like reaffirmed that that's exactly what type of time he's on. He's clearly on demon time on this. Yeah, that's the old Future, man. That's definitely that old Future. He just said he's back on demon time. He's back in his bag. He's back on the lane. He's back on demon time. Like, that's basically what that whole song was about here. That whole song was about him letting people know that he's back. That demon time Future is back. Like, he don't even know what shorty he's with. He's just tagging him at this point. That's literally a line and a bar from there. Like, that is demon time Future. Crazy. Keeps going. Track number 6, Too Fast. I mean, this is definitely one of those songs when you hear, like, obviously now in 2024 with hindsight, that like, this is clearly where like Gunna got a lot of his bag, and like a lot of those artists in that same lane got their bag from. Like, to say that Future had a massive influence on this current generation of rappers would be a massive understatement, and underselling the huge impact he's had on the game, whether you like it or not. Now, the whole question of whether that is a good thing or a bad thing really kind of depends on your perspective and what type of hip hop and rap that you like. I think that it's been a good thing and it's had its positive, but it's also had a lot of its own negatives that have come from it. And I think it's become a little bit too one note in a lot of like music and sound that is coming from hip hop, because a lot of people are trying to do a Future straight up. And most of them, if not all of them, cannot even come close to the level of, you know, delivery that he can. Yes, he raps about a lot of the same things in a lot of his catalog, but he also can go into much deeper depths. He's shown that, and he can write for a lot of other people. He's shown that as well. And people kind of just gravitate and grab onto the more immediately catchy and earworm and like readily like understandable songs that you don't have to dive into a little bit more lyrically or depth wise, and obviously for good reason. That's for the masses, but like people focus too much on that aspect of him, and I think that's influenced the game in probably a little bit of a negative way. Like there's a lot of like little mini me's and Me Too people running, like, well, I'm not even gonna say me, you can't even say Me Too like that, but Mr. Me Too's out there trying to just like recapture the feel and energy of a Future. The closest one so far for me has definitely been like Gunna, but even Gunna has started to find like his own lane and route and mode. So he's definitely had some negative impacts, and I do think he's kind of dumbed down the game a little bit unintentionally, because not everybody can do what he does and still kind of do it at the level that he does. But his influence is undeniable, and like you hear a song like this and I just hear Gunna. Like I see where you came from, my boy. Hey yo,
hey bro, come on now, dog. Come on, man.
Hey yo, come on, Future. That is a crazy line to be saying. Like, yeah.
What?
Some things just don't need to be said. Just straight up. I mean, classic Future. What else can you say? Like classic Future. He's delivering right now. He's definitely eating this shit up right now. So let's go to track number 7, Ocean.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
God damn.
Yo, the beat on this, they got like those chimes going off in the background, but like it's also very dark. Again, I'm gonna keep saying it, very dark, very menacing, very ominous. That is like the classic Future feel. Like he's able to get in this kind of dark mode, but then still deliver like energy wise. Like it's not like low energy, it's still very like high energy, aggressive, menacing, filthy. That production, bro. Like hold on, let me check this as outside too, because the production is crazy right now. No, Weasley, honorable C note. Like, of course, tap back in with them too, because he's done phenomenal stuff with them in the past, and like this is fire. All right, we're back. Like something weird just happened. OBS had to close it down, start it back up again, but let's get right back into it. Future, Mixtape Pluto. I mean, like I was saying before, you know, got interrupted, but production is just next level. It's right back to kind of that classic feel and production that you would want from like a you know, Future production and song. And like he's definitely tapping back into that old style, and it's definitely for his fans. This is definitely for his fans. Let's go track number 8, Press the Button. I mean, this is definitely, I mean, it's still classic kind of Future feel and production and sound wise and delivery. It's just like, this is the type of Future that I never really loved, when he was just super ad lib heavy and didn't really have much to say. And when you pair that with this super simplistic kind of production, this is the type of song from Future I never liked. And I've never been a fan of this type of output that he had, and this is very much in line with that, and I'm just not feeling it. Not feeling this one right now. Yeah, this one's not for me. This is definitely the type of sound and style of Future that I was never a huge fan of. Super simplistic, all of these kind of ad-lib heavy deliveries, and just not much to like really, I don't know, vibe with. It's just the same kind of feeling, the same way throughout. I can do without press the button. Let's go to track number 9, MJ. Like, this still kind of has that super simplistic kind of, I don't know, this that same super simplistic song style that I was kind of mentioning with Press the Button. But at least with this one, melody wise, there's a little bit something there to kind of grasp onto, and there's like a little bit more depth with that. But overall, it's still very much in that line of like a little bit too repetitive to me for me. And yeah, just not like a whole lot of depth to this one. Just very basic, super simplistic, and repetitive. I mean, the drums are hard. The drums are tough. Like, the drums are definitely tough, and knocking is just, overall, it just feels very, very repetitive. Yeah, like I said, drums are decent. Production is okay, if not shallow and repetitive, and song delivery and like songwriting, there's just like not much there. Let's go to track number 10, Brazier. Is that how you say it? Something like that. Again, not my favorite kind of feature run right now. It's very simple, very one note. Even the production, like outside of the drums, it's just like that same repetitive kind of like sound and style. Like, there's not much variation here, not much depth. Like, it's just the same right now, and it's not my favorite. I mean, again, drums are okay. They're fine. They're knocking. They're adequately hitting. Tough enough, hard enough, but like, it's just the same repetitive kind of stylings, the same repetitive delivery, the same one note monotone kind of like songwriting and delivery, I guess, again. But it's just like, it's one note. It's very one note, very repetitive, and for a song that's 3 minutes, there's just not much variation to kind of like keep things exciting. And it's probably my least favorite aspect of some of Future songs, is that he does kind of get in the bag where it's like just the same over and over and over and over again. But there are obviously aspect of his fans that like that sound. I'm just not one of them. I do like a little bit more depth to his music, and that last little run he's been on, not my favorite. Let's go to track number 11, South of France. Guys, speak about my dark days so you can see the light. That's kind of a bar right there. That is kind of a bar for somebody who I don't really like look to or expect like lyricism or bars or anything like even like in that department that really like is standout for me. He does have moments where he does say some noteworthy things. Like, they're not obviously in every single song, but there are definitely moments. He doesn't have full bars or full like verses where I'm like running back like, damn, he went crazy on there. But there are definitely little nuggets that he throws in here and there that are like standout, and that is one of them. And I think that like this is more of what I was kind of looking for out of those previous 3 tracks that we listened to that were very monotonous and one note. The production here is a little bit more bright, a little bit more cheery, and it's got a little bit more going on. I'm vibing this one so far. I mean, that's exactly what I was kind of like talking about and mentioned when I was like, I was expecting or hoping for something a little bit with a little bit more depth, a little bit more dimension to it, production wise and sound wise. And he gave us there's like a whole bridge at the end. The production had different layers going off, like the vocal sampling, and then like this crazy almost like flute being played throughout there. Like, that creates this like incredible rhythm. And then like, he actually had something to say here. It wasn't just, you know, things, just he wasn't just saying things to say them, but like he actually had a purpose and a direction that he's going for, and he delivered. South of France is a dope song. Let's go to track number 12, Surfing a Tsunami. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how I feel about this song. Songwriting wise, lyric wise, like he's clearly trying here. He's clearly going for something, and he is delivering some okay verses and like actually saying something worth, you know, listening to and some depth to it. Production wise, it's not necessarily doing it for me. I think it's super, I don't know, again, very simplistic, very bare feeling. Like I'm hoping there's gonna be more of a drop here where things kick up a notch, but right now it's feeling kind of empty. The song is feeling kind of empty for me. Yeah, okay. Like that whole time I was hoping for or expecting maybe a drop or drums of any significance, but that's not what we got. He kind of tried the route of a more stripped down, laid back kind of feel and approach to the song. And while I do think there are moments in his catalog where he delivers on those type of songs, for the most part, I'm not a fan. I'm not a huge fan of those type of songs from him. I don't think he has quite the depth sometimes musically to deliver on those in an effective manner. I mean, for some people they do, but for me, for people who like listen to like all their types of songs and genres and music from other people, it just doesn't stack up to some of the lyrical emotional depth of others. And that's why I've never been a huge fan of like these more stripped back emotional ballads almost from Future. And like this is exactly what it kind of feels like. Now there is an audience for that, obviously. He keeps doing them and there are people that like that. I'm just not one of them, and I'm just not a fan of this song or the production or anything about this track. Quite honestly, I thought it was extremely boring, and it almost made me click off a little bit sooner, but not a fan of this one. Let's go to track number 13, Made My Hoe Faint. I don't know what kind of sample he's using on this production. Whatever that is, it's kind of like almost like a record. Like, I don't know how you would explain that sample that's being reused over and over again. If you know the exact sample or know the sound, the name of the sound that I'm mentioning, let me know in the comments, because I don't know what it is, but it's working. It's definitely working. It's adding like a little bit of edge and flair and texture to this otherwise very simple beat and production. But that little sample is carrying a lot of this song, and I'm here for it. Yeah, extremely simple, extremely simple. And outside of like the sample, there wasn't like a whole lot going on. The sample added quite a lot. And again, this definitely feels like a mixtape throwaway type of track that he would have done again back when he was trying to get his name out there. And it's like, okay, I'm not mad at it. It's cool to see him kind of tapping back into it, but not my favorite one of these. Let's go to track number 14, Told My. I mean, it's hard for me not to hear 3-6 Mafia influence in a lot of today's kind of music and production. It is something that I don't think it's talked about enough, but their influence on like this modern kind of wave of hip hop is undeniable. And like a lot of that sampling and a lot of that like that backing almost vocal, it could be vocal. It feels like there's vocals kind of distorted and like flipped and looped over and over again to create like this backing soundscape for this song. And that is very reminiscent of a lot of like early, not even early, just a lot of, yeah, I'll say early, a lot of earlier like 3-6 Mafia stuff. And like it really brings out that energy of that era. And like it's hard for me not to hear kind of like that 3-6 influence on this one. Bruh. I put on my BMs on paper so they won't talk. Yeah, he's definitely back on Demon Time. He's definitely back on that old super toxic villain Future, bad guy Future that, you know, everybody seems to love, me, myself included. He's never claimed to be the best guy when it comes to women in relationships. He's always been very open and honest about he is a monster. He is a sleazeball when it comes to that era. And he is fully back, it seems to be, in that kind of mode here. Again, like that vocal manipulation and sampling and inclusion and production, 3-6. Definitely feels like 3-6. Yeah, I mean, it was okay. It was cool. I mean, production wise, it was interesting. I liked what they were doing with like all the sampling and distortion and manipulation of whatever they were doing. Again, it reminded me of like kind of early 3-6 Mafia, and it's dope to see them kind of getting their love and recognition for their production because they're clearly ahead of their time. He's definitely back on this super toxic villain era Future, if it ever left in the first place. And yeah, this is a song that I think his fans would probably kind of gravitate towards. I don't think it's like necessarily a banger or a super standout, but it is a cool little filler track. Let's keep this going. Number 15, Oath. I mean, simple little production backing, but it was definitely the best kind of lyrical, I guess, lyrical run you could say that he's done on this whole tape as a whole. I think he got in his bag a little bit there. He's definitely speaking about, you know, I don't know, that criminal partnership, camaraderie, fraternity that you can have being from the streets, and it's very kind of reminiscent and relevant to like what a young thug might be kind of going through. He even mentioned he can't put his dog on the gram because he'd be on that fraud, and it's yeah, it's a cool little song, nothing crazy, definitely like a little throwaway filler, and I think he did his thing lyrically, but that's about it. Let's go to track number 16, Lost My Dog.
God damn.
So there's no easing into this song. He's gonna let you know exactly what this song is about and what he's going to be telling you about on the song when you're opening bars. Lost my dog to fentanyl. I don't know why I'm laughing about it, but the way he just said it and was so blunt and so open right off the back that I'm almost screaming it at you. Lost my dog to fentanyl. Like, it's like, damn. All right. I guess we going there. I mean, if you ever want to realize and see how bad the fentanyl epidemic has been in the US, we got a whole Future song about it. This is a guy who has glorified drugs and lean and being under the influence for the better part of his career. And fentanyl shit must be real bad if you got Future out here like doing a whole ode to the fentanyl crisis basically, and like kind of almost raising awareness to the situation, which is kind of wild for somebody who on tape has said he don't even do lean and drugs and pop pills, but that's the energy that he's always put out to the world. So yeah, that's wild. And it's also wild to think that there are people that will be singing along to this song. Yes, there are people in very similar situations who have lost friends and family members and acquaintances to fentanyl. Do I want to hear a crowd singing aloud like I lost my dog to fentanyl? Kind of crazy. But if Future can stop the fentanyl epidemic, he goated. He's goated.
What?
Did I just hear what I thought he just said? My brother take these pills when he drill. If you don't know what I mean, but what that means, he takes pills when he goes to kill people or shoot up situations and ops, as they say. I want to tell him stop. But it helps him kill. sometimes about hip hop in the state we're in, the shit that we talk about in hip hop, like what we promote. It's fucking tragic sometimes, bro. Like, it's tragic. So, like, you're telling me you don't tell him stop killing, stop drilling. Let's find a different route, better route. That's not the line you draw. The line you draw is him taking pills. We're so cooked. I lost my homie to a gang war. I don't cry. I go slide for you. And we say hip hop has no influence on the youth. You sure about that? You sure about that? Because this sure sounds like what a lot of these little nugheads out there are doing these days. It's exactly what it sounds like. Popping pills, sliding, gang wars. We gotta do better sometimes. What could have been like this deeply emotional, resonant track on this otherwise very dark, menacing, ominous album honestly came off as tone deaf. Tone deaf, especially considering the situations that are going on along with a lot of our youth in the urban communities and the killing, the violence, gang wars, the addictions. And it's just like, I'm sure he's kind of trying to come off and deliver this as like a cautionary tale for the youth, or maybe even trying to relate to their situations. It can't help but feel like it's coming off as anything but. And that is one issue I've always had with Future, quite honestly. Like, again, his influence on the youth and the culture is underrated in good and very bad ways. His promotion of drug use and the euphoric feeling of it and how good it is, and other very bad, aspects of our culture, and his influence in just toxic behavior, toxic relationships. It's undeniable. It's there. He even mentioned, I don't do drugs, but I rap about them. And why do you rap about them? Because, people resonate with them. And that gets people listening. That's what people want to hear. But it's also like, you are introducing a lot of people to these aspects, and the way that you speak about them make them sound almost positive in certain manners. And that is one aspect of Future I've always had kind of an issue with, because there still are a lot of very, very impressionable people out there who think that he's out there doing everything he's saying and like living that life actually. So then therefore they feel like that's the way they want to be living. And like, again, I'm sure this was meant to come off as a cautionary tale, but to me, that sure ain't how it felt or came off. But we gotta do better, man. Go to track number 17, A Say Gang, last one. That beat, production is nasty. Production is absolutely filthy. Drums are crazy. That little vocal sample that they're cutting in and out is adding a lot to it. Like, it's just creating a massive feeling soundtrack or soundscape right now for him to like kind of do his thing. And like, I'm digging this. The production right now is fire. Yeah, this might be one of my favorite songs out this entire project right now. I think the production is absolutely hard, and I like when he kind of goes that more slow down kind of delivery and lets the beat kind of like go back and forth with him in his verses and like use his voice almost in this percussive manner. It's dope. It's dope. This is a fire song. This is a fire song, and it's a great way to end a project. Cool song. Definitely one of my favorite ones off this project. I think the production was dope. I like the little vocal additions he did, and I think he flowed with the song probably one of the best out of this entire project. Great way to end things off. I don't think it was super in depth or like there were a lot of things to talk about lyrically, but I think, you know, vibe wise, it did the trick. It fit the bill. Overall in this project, you know, it's average, above average. It's not like one of the best feature projects, but there are definitely some worthy and noteworthy moments. I think it is pretty dope to see that he can still kind of tap back into this older energy that he's kind of been known for, especially early on in his career. Despite all of the success from mainstream that he's had and working with pop artists, working with all these other artists from different genres, and showing his versatility in that manner, especially from like a mainstream appeal and perspective. But he also, you know, didn't forget his fans, and he delivered something that I think is specifically aimed for like his more diehard fans who have been following him and been messing with his music since he kind of first burst onto the scene. And that is dope to see. It's dope to see artists always kind of like remembering how he got to where he got to and the people who really helped him get there. With that said, I don't think this is groundbreaking. I don't think it's evolutionary. I don't think it like really showed much growth from him as an artist. This is, you know, Pluto. This is Future as we know Future to be. I don't think he showed any different dimension to himself, and I don't think like I want like 5, 6, 7 more of these. I think this is a nice little trip down memory lane almost, but it's not like something that I want from a regular basis. I just looked it up. Future is 40 years old, so I'm very interested to see how he's going to kind of age in this game, if his lyrical content is ever going to evolve from this kind of like very almost immature aspect, as you can see on like songs like Lost My Dog and others. But it's like, we'll see. I don't really think so. I think he's kind of in his lane. I think he's kind of stick to that. But at 40, it's going to be very interesting to see how he's going to age in this game, because I mean, content wise, it just hasn't really changed much, and it hasn't evolved, and it's always kind of like been at this surface level. There are moments where he shows depth and he shows like increased artistry, but most of the time he always kind of reverts back to this kind of low level, easy, shallow content. And I don't really know, but it's like, we'll see. What do you guys think about this project, Mixtape Pluto? Where would you rank this amongst some of his, you know, past mixtapes, and where would you rank this among some of his, you know, recent releases? Do you want to hear more of this type of songs from him, more of this type of energy, or like was it just like this is cool for what it was, and like you're ready for him to get back to like the mainstream and maybe try to see where you can push things in a different, more evolved direction? Let me know in the comments down below.